Will you believe me if I told you that you were born to succeed? That you were created, designed, and born to succeed? That failure was never supposed to be part of your story? Now, obviously, when I talk about failure, I'm not talking about short-term making mistake, short-term failing, because on the road to success, usually, regardless who you are, regardless the level of success you've had, there will always be at some point in your life where you make mistakes, where you fall, where you have some short-term failing. But I'm talking about the kind of failure that people that makes people give up, the kind of failure that cripples people, that make people afraid to pursue their goals. You were never born or created to fail. You were never born or created to give up. Your whole biological composition is a witness to the fact that you were born to pursue your objective and to achieve that objective. And the reason why a lot of people are failing is not because they were born to fail, but because society has made it so. We learn to fail. And so in order to succeed, we have to reorient our minds again. I'm going to give you a brief story of why I think that we were born to succeed. Why I believe that God has endowed every human being with the potential, the capacity to achieve the objective. And it is society that actually makes us settle in and conform to the status quo. You know, when your mother and your father had sexual interaction, you know what happens. There is usually a release of semen from the man, and that semen is made up of about 300 million sperms, and all these sperms have one objective, and that is to fertilize the ovary that is in the woman. Now all these 300 sperms, obviously not all of them are going to succeed. Only one out of the 300 million sperms, only one is going to succeed, and that happened to be you. It's quite funny, isn't it? But I just want to take you through the process so that you appreciate it a little bit. You know, right off the release of semen into the woman's vagina, due to the level of the level of acid in the woman's body, most of these sperms will die. So the first exposure to an atmosphere that is not the atmosphere causes death to majority of these sperms. The remaining or the survival ones will travel through the cervix. Now, even through the cervix, some of the semen, some of the sperms will die because they get stuck in what scientists call or doctors call the cervix mucus. And for some of them too, they don't travel far because the woman's white blood cells begin to fight these sperms, thinking that they are a threat to the woman's body. Now, all these process, for some reason, you still survived, still running, still pursuing your objective, that is to fertilize the ovary. Then the surviving sperms get to the uterus. Now, this is where they have to make a very important decision, probably the most important decision you have ever made in your life. You made it as a sperm, because at the uterus you have to decide whether to go to the left or to the right of the fallopian tube. Because if you go to the right of the fallopian tube and the egg that is ready to be fertilized is on the left, you die. If you go to the right whilst on the left, you die. And so you made the best decision of your life whilst you were unconscious, whilst you were a little sperm. And so I don't understand how people can grow up and then say they don't trust they can make the right decisions. Are you kidding me? You made the best decision whilst you were unconscious. And so you make a decision, you try to take right, you go to the right with a couple of sperms still following you, and through that process, through that fallopian tube passageway, you are the first person to fertilize the ovary, and then you were conceived, became a human being. Out of 300 million, you came out first. With all those challenges, you never once gave up. Then you are born as a baby. Now, when a baby is born, instinctively there are a lot of things that it begins, or he or she begins to do. For example, a baby begins to sit. Now, the process of sitting is not easy because you will fall many times. However, your body does not tell you to give up. You know instinctively that you can't give up, that you have the potential to sit. It is part of your human package. And so you have to harness that potential, and so you sit. Although you fall many times, however, you sit. You never see a baby, although they cry many times when they fall, you never see a baby say, I've given up, I'm not going to try and sit anymore. No, they sit. Then after sitting, you try to stand. That one too, you fall many times, because every time you try to stand, you fall. Yet, regardless the number of times you fall, for some reason, every part of your cell, every part of your muscle still wants to stand up. And so you stand and stand and stand until you get a grip of standing. Then now it's time to make your first step. You fall many times trying to walk, but eventually still you don't give up, because your body is not familiar with giving up. And so you don't give up, you still try, and then you finally stand on your feet, you start walking, start running. Every process you go through from a sperm to a baby shows you that the human body was designed to pursue its objective and not to give up. The reason why people give up, I think, is that when you're growing up, when you become conscious of your environment, and now you can understand the language that people speak, people start teaching you how to be afraid. People start teaching you how to give up. Because the people that surrounds you start giving you legitimate reason. You hear people giving you legitimate reasons why they can't achieve what they want to achieve. You hear people saying why they couldn't be first class students, why they couldn't pursue architecture, why they couldn't be engineers. I mean, you hear it over and over and over again, and so it becomes part of you that, you can give legitimate excuses for not achieving your goals, or not achieving your dreams, or not pursuing, or giving up is part of life. You can't always have all that you want, teaching you how to be afraid, what to be afraid of, and all that. And so the system compels us to embrace the status quo. And so now we get to a point, and failure is part of our lives. You try something 1, 2, it doesn't work out, and you give up. But that was never supposed to be part of your story. You were never meant to give up. I mean, you were in your story, there were many times you'd fall, but you never stopped. I believe God designed the human body, wired us not to give up. And this video is just to rekindle some form of passion that most of you have lost. That whatever dreams and aspirations you had in the past growing up, you used to imagine yourself. Growing up, we used to dream and have crazy imaginations, and the adults would tell us we should stop dreaming and stop imagining things and all that. That life is all about responsibilities, and then we gave up our dreams. But Jesus said something. He says, if you want to enter into the kingdom, you're gonna have to become a little child again. You're gonna have to go back to dreaming. You're gonna have to go back. You're gonna have to reorient your mind to that reality that you can't give up, that whatever you're destined to do, you can't give up. You have to pursue it. Regardless of the number of times you fall, you're still going to pursue it. That is the mindset that you have to have. You have to go back to being that child. Have you ever seen the faith of a child? When you promise a child you're going to buy them ice cream, they don't care whether you have money or not. As long as you made that promise, they're going to hold you by it. Children don't give up. You raise the children up, you try and lift them up, they come down, they want it again and again and again. They can fall from the skies and hit the ground. After crying, they will tell you that throw them up again. They are not familiar with giving up. And I pray you don't give up. I know some of us are tired. Responsibilities have made us mechanical and robots. But don't give up on that dream that you once had. There's still a lot of space at the top for you. Imagine if Nelson Mandela had given up. Imagine if Jesus had given up. Imagine if Malcolm X had given up. Martin Luther King had given up. Imagine that. Imagine if all these great people had given up. Imagine if you give up. Your destiny will not only satisfy you, it would bless a whole generation. I pray you don't give up, and I pray I see you at the top very soon. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to share, to like, and to subscribe.